I'm Phaedra.
And I'm Sophie.
And this is My Best View.
Phaedra, what was your best view this week?
My best view this week was watching all of the tourists who are here for the World Cup, both in person and online, like just really engaging with, luckily, overall the good parts of America. Like, have you seen those Scottish people in Boston just like drinking all of the city's beer and having the best time?
I haven't seen anything because I don't care about the World Cup at all in any capacity. So like all my social media is clear of any of that content.
Like you have these British people in like fucking, I don't know, Louisiana going to this backwoods restaurant and being like, I had the best customer service and food and just overall experience at this rib restaurant in, I don't know,
Paducah, Kentucky.
There is so much deeply wrong with America as a country, and I'm the farthest thing from an America glazer or a patriotic person, but it is really enjoyable to see how much fun people are having, and I don't know, just really is warming my heart.
Yeah, I love that. I can appreciate that.
And Sophie, what was your best view this week?
My best view, it's a partial view this week, which is that I was able to go back to my partially finished apartment.
Fucking finally.
Thank fuck, got my furniture back and everything. We're still waiting for the kitchen to be renovated, but at least we have like a bed and our belongings for the most part, except for the fuck ass like moving company that our insurance sent. These people hate their jobs. They like didn't bring a bunch of shit back, and then they were acting like I was such a bitch for being like, hey, like where's my bench? Where's my shelving unit? And they're like,
where are my belongings?
We'll bring it another time, okay? And also, they brought me someone else's Jeep taillight. But, so that's why it's a partial best view, because, like, not everything's finished, but just a little bit of progress is good. My apartment flooded in December. It's June now. So the progress is welcomed, and I was grateful to be able to see a glimmer of hope for what could be in my apartment.
Fucking finally. Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
This shit was fucking crazy. This episode
I felt had a darkness to it.
Things were cooking up and exploding.
So we're going to start this week with Debby and Mido, a fan favorite. We pick up exactly where we left off last time. Mido is in front of the bar calling an Uber in his fuck-ass Egyptian Halloween costume.
The fact that this is all happening when he's in this getup is so fucking funny to me.
It's so unserious.
He looks like the clown he is.
A producer asked Mido what happened. Like, the producers are legitimately trying to understand what happened because they were with them at the haunted house. And then, like, by the time they pulled up to the new location, these two are like, okay, he's going back to Egypt. And they're like, hey, what did we miss?
What? Just bullet points. What happened?
But Mido basically says, like, he didn't do anything. Like, Debby was just crying for no reason, basically. And in the meantime, Debby's friends Laura and Astra are still outside the bar. They're both just very shocked by what has transpired. Astra says that she wonders how Mido is behind closed doors if he's like this in public.
Good question. Not good from what we've seen, by the way.
Yeah. And Laura says she doesn't know what the future holds for them, but she is pretty sure there will not be a wedding, which I would love it if that were true.
We've got to contact Paula. These guys have got to learn how to manifest because I want to live in that world and I'm worried we're not going to.
They need to purchase tiny little divorce papers with Debby and Mido's names on them. So Mido says his current plan is to go back to Egypt. And at this point, like, Mido and Debby are both in the apartment, but they're not talking to each other. And so producers are interviewing them separately. And Debby tells her producer that basically she had a meltdown and Mido just did not offer any sort of compassion or empathy, etc. And that was really tough for her. Mido, meanwhile, tells his producer that Debby made a critical error when she questioned his virginity, which you'll recall last episode, Debby made a comment about him fucking a slut in Egypt.
I assume we're going to learn the answers to this, but I'm like, okay, what the fuck is she referencing? Is she going off of the fact that he has pictures with girls and thinking that that means that they fucked? Or like, is there evidence that he had a sexual relationship, but then to the camera, he's trying to kind of like pretend that she's jumping to these crazy conclusions? You know what I mean?
I agree. In any case, Mido is now saying that he's looking for flights to Egypt, but can't find a flight.
That was killing me. He's like on the couch in his little pajamas and he's like, yeah, it's too late at night, so I can't find a flight, so I'll check again tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't think that's how it works.
I'm like, where's the urgency? Flights.google.com, baby. Just go Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think what really he meant is he looked at the flights and he was like, oh,
They're too expensive.
this shit's expensive.
I know. I kind of think so too. But the framing of like, I can't find a flight, it's very like, it's not of the current time where you can find a flight on your phone within 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Debby is like fired up. So she, again, telling her producer, I'm not going to take being called a bitch. I'm not going to take him screaming at my friends. If he wants to go home, pack his bags and go. And then Mido says to his producer, I can't be with her after all these things, over. And I'm just going to say it. This is 90 Day Fiancé speak for things are far from over.
Hey. So this is episode 7 out of the main show 18. I don't think it's over.
So this really stresses me out. Just because to see them both be so heated and just like knowing it's not over, I'm scared.
It's really interesting to me because Debby, this same night of the conflict, to her producer, I feel is extremely accurately saying what the issues are interpersonally and like why it cannot continue. This has to be at the end of it. She's like, he has no compassion for me. He has no concern for her. It seems like he has no love for her. She's very upset about these things correctly. And I'm just like, fuck, what is up with her that she loses that? She has it and then it slips out of her grasp. I don't get what happens.
Even in this episode, we'll see her language softening, which freaks me out. Anyway, we'll do a psychology deep dive in a second once we get to that part. But Debby tells the camera that she had a moment during the fight where or I don't know, during the fight or after, but she had a moment where she remembered being married before and feeling so alone. And like, she seems just so sad. And again, like I said from the beginning, this is not a plotline I find funny. I find this one truly sad. And it just makes me sad to your point, to what we've both said before, like she finds these moments of connection with her feelings, her memories, whatever, and has this clarity. And it's like, it's almost like emotional dementia. Like she'll have these moments of lucidity and then go back and you're like, wait, what was that? Like that seemed so poignant and deep and relevant. And then like all of a sudden that's gone. Like that, it really freaks me out.
No.
And then in the meantime, the producer's talking to Mido, who is now wrapped in this like super fuzzy blanket.
It was like a really fluffy robe or blanket that you know is Debby's. Like I'm sure like it was in the bathroom that they share and it's actually her robe. And he's like, oh my God, perfect for me. Like, I don't know. He just pisses me off. There's no way he brought that robe or that she got it for him. It just, I don't know why that pissed me off.
No, it pissed me off too in a weird way.
Get out of that
and
fucking
again,
robe.
He's saying he wants to go home, but he hasn't found a flight for free. And
yeah, well, they don't have any tickets. It's as if he's saying like, oh, they stopped the flights. Like, girl, no, you just don't have the money in your account. Be honest about what's going on.
I know.
But he says that if he had a ticket right now, he would absolutely go back immediately.
Yeah, it's funny to see someone who is, I think there's nothing that's funny about him being wrapped in this fuzzy blanket or robe, like on the bed. He had the visual of someone who's just like bed rotting and like growing roots in the bed. And to have that visual and be like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. It's like, no, you're not.
You actually look really comfortable where you're at.
You look so cozy. You're not.
Yeah. In this moment, I was like, producers, I know you interfere with some stuff. For the love of God, can you buy him a ticket back to Egypt and end everyone's suffering? Like, please. This is how you know they're not here for these people's best interest. You know, they're just here for entertainment, obviously. But I'm like, please step in.
I know.
It's like a nature documentary when you see like an animal starving and it's like, oh, if I just threw them literally one crumb of bread, they and their whole colony would survive. It's like, I don't know. At what point are you culpable?
I know. So in the meantime, Astra has been texting Debby and she's been checking to see if Debbie's okay. And they're going to meet up later, the two of them. Mm-hmm. And Debby says, quote, I'm expecting Astra to say, run, get out while you can.
Yeah.
Like, true, but also like it's so tough for me again to hear people use those words and I'm like, that is a really intense thing for your friend to be thinking, and the fact that you know she's thinking that, you know, it's not, oh, I'm not sure, run, get out while you can from your best friend. That needs to mean something, and it makes me so sad that like I know it ultimately isn't going to mean anything,
or not enough at least.
And Debby also says, quote, it's absolutely heart-wrenching to see your fiancé be a monster in front of your friends. I'm devastated.
Yeah, Debby. It's devastating.
And again, if I heard these things in episode 16, I would be cheering her on. But I'm just like, okay, but I know you're going to somehow rationalize this. And that makes me feel really scared.
Yeah.
So in this meeting, Astra is super upset on Debbie's behalf, as she should be as a good friend.
Astra really eats up every minute of screen time she has, not in a performative way, but whenever she's on screen, she's saying the correct thing and she is not holding back. But you can really tell it's coming from a place of genuine love and care for Debbie. I think she's a fantastic friend.
I agree. And she's like getting a bit emotional, talking about how horrible this is. And then Debbie starts to lose me because she tells Astra to calm down.
Debbie.
Your friend is telling you about her experience watching your fiancé not only yell at you in front of her, but yell at her. I'm like, why are we telling her to calm down? I didn't.
And Astra truly was not doing too much. She was not yelling. She was just saying logically, like, yeah, and then when he did this, it made me feel this way. And I think that he's really not good for you. It seems like you shouldn't get married. And she's like, I'm sorry to say it, but like, I'm really concerned by this. Debbie
told her to calm down the minute she became the tiniest bit emotionally activated. And it wasn't angry, screaming. It was, you could hear emotion in her voice. She was a little choked up, like, I hate this for you. And then Debbie's like, calm down. And I was like, ooh. Debbie. As soon as she told her to calm down, I was like, oh God, this conversation is not going where I need it to go.
Yeah, we're losing her.
But what made me feel extremely upset was Astra said, quote, if he's treating you like that in front of other people, how is he treating you when no one is around? Debbie says, he's been wonderful some days. We've had some of the greatest days. There's just not always every day is a great day.
It's so funny for someone to say, I'm so worried for how your partner treats you when you're alone. And you said, some days are good. Debbie, every day practically should be good. A bad day should be like maximum once a month.
But also the bad days need to not be like your partner calling you and your friends bitches and like threatening to leave the country and all this stuff, you know? And that's what Astra said too. She was like, the bad days shouldn't be like a toddler meltdown.
Also, in my opinion, bad days should not be fundamentally about your relational dynamic. It should be one of you or both of you is individually going through some tough life shit and maybe you're not handling it the best. Like, you could even be taking it out on your partner in that moment, and that's not good, but you can work through that. The problem itself should not be, oh, we like don't like each other and or like this person doesn't respect me, straight up.
I agree. That's the thing too, when people are always, you know, I hate on Instagram people talking about we've had ups and downs, and I'm like, okay, have you experienced like situational ups and downs just because like life can be hard and you can experience hard circumstances together? Or is like the mere existence with this person full of downs? If so, I think that's a problem.
People have got to stop marrying potential. I'm so serious. You have to just accept the person you're with for who they are in that exact moment.
I feel like so many of these people, you can see that the calculus is like they want to be with someone because like, Debbie, is this man providing more positive or negative in your life? If you take away just the feeling of, I have a partner, clearly it's more negative. And so it's just that, but I have a partner. And like, that makes me so sad because like, that actually can't, in my opinion, can't count for anything. If it's a shitty person, your life is worse off.
Absolutely.
I just like feel this desire from her to have the experience of being partnered, not even being loved, because this guy doesn't even fucking love her. And she's out here saying, I don't think he loves me. But it's like literally the fact that she can grasp onto, I'm in a relationship, clearly has inherent value for her. And that makes me so sad.
Me too. She's the literal opposite of Marissa in the sense that Marissa is more like, ugh, I don't want someone in my house, but she loves Edward. And Debbie's like, God, I want someone in my house and I don't even care if they like me.
I know. It's so hard to see. So Astra at this point asks if Debbie thinks Mido is using her to advance his acting career.
Astra has his fucking number. I love it.
I love Astra. And Debbie says, well, he says he's here for me. Hey, Debbie, newsflash, people can say whatever.
This is what I'm talking about with like, she's so close, is she's not saying he's here for me. She's like, well, he says he's here for me. You can tell there's a bit of doubt there, but then she's not like, and I'm not sure either. Or yeah, I have my worries. He says that, but I don't fully believe him. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're so close. We're so close.
I know. I just want to we just need to close the loop. I know. And Astra, like at this point, pretty directly says that Debbie should not marry Mido. And Debbie says, yeah, there definitely need to be some apologies.
Debbie.
Why is Debbie already getting into like repair mode? Like, just listen to what your friend is saying.
This is maybe 18 hours after the incident as well. Like, no time has passed.
Honestly, Astra, to me, deserves sainthood for her patience in this situation, because I would have gotten up. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I would have gotten up 20 minutes before and I would have said, okay, if you are that obtuse, have fun. Bye.
Straight up.
And Debbie's like, pre-apologizing for Mido. He hasn't even apologized yet.
Mind you, right now he's actively looking for a plane back to Egypt.
In her bathrobe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if this is where you're at, like, you're a lost cause to me. Sorry.
I know. When I was watching this, when we got to this point, my main thought was how long until Debbie turns her frustration with Mido onto her friend? Because you know that's coming. That's the next step to this. I'm sorry. Like, these people who haven't deconstructed everything we've talked about or, like, frankly, learned their own self-worth. It's just a matter of time until that pain is externalized onto other people. And it's then like us against the world and blah, blah, blah. It's just a matter of time.
Unfortunately. But Astra, we are Team Astra. We love you. We want Astra in the divorce.
Yes. Well, we might get her because my other best view this week was that Astra followed us on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Hey, queen. Now we have more crazy people up next. What is going on, guys? Mercury is in Gatorade or whatever.
I know.
Now we've got Catie and Josh. Hey, Catie. You lost me. I'll just say that up front.
Same. This episode was one of the first episodes where I could unequivocally say it's not just the edit doing Catie dirty. The whole time I knew the behaviors that we were talking about were real behaviors, but I thought, okay, maybe they're blowing out of proportion. Maybe they're kind of like focusing on certain things that are only a small part of their relationship. This time I was like, no, the haters were maybe right. Like, unfortunately.
And we really hate to say that. I think Josh is a really good example of someone who intellectualizes problems a lot. And I think he unfortunately seems to be a good example of why that is not entirely helpful. Because at the end of the day, I think most people understand what's right and what's wrong. And when you over explain things and you over intellectualize them, you remove yourself from the reality that hurt and harm is being done. And on some level, that is all that matters, or what matters the most. Yeah. I think it's when you over intellectualize things, it's so easy to remove yourself from that. And I don't think it's helpful.
I agree.
So to actually get into what happened, we opened to Catie and Josh in their apartment in Portland. Josh has bought a work desk and is kind of celebrating that. He's like, oh, you know, it looks nice. And Katie's just kind of looking at like, okay. You can tell she's like judging the fact that you spent money on it probably. And I will just say we can see the entire apartment and it still looks a fucking mess. And look, I have moved so many times in my life intercontinentally, I think at least 4 times or some shit, 6. I don't know. I understand how moving looks in an apartment. Okay, I get it. This apartment looks crazy. It is just a total disorganized mess of like, not even moving boxes. What's killing me is half of the crap is just in like Target bags too. And I'm like, how is this the situation? Didn't you come, like, Catie, I don't think this is Josh's stuff necessarily. It's just so disorganized. I don't know, it's stressing me out. And things are not like put in a corner or something. It's just like they're everywhere on the floor. It's so stressful.
It's funny. I had a very similar thought. My husband and I just received the entirety of our belongings from a storage unit in our apartment. And I cannot tell you how different the process looked of like sorting things and moving this box here. And like watching them, I was like, this is crazy how much more we were able to achieve in 3 focused hours than it seems like has been achieved in the entirety of the multiple days in which they have been in this apartment.
Yes. And Catie tells Josh that this whole process of setting up an apartment with someone else is outside of her comfort zone. But because she says this comment, she says also that she doesn't like living with other people. And I'm like, Catie, this right after you've said like, oh, I didn't want to do the immigration thing. That was your idea. It's so hurtful. And he makes a joke to her about how, oh, that's fine. I'll just fly back to the UK. And I'm just like, oh my God, I hate this level of passive aggression and resentment already from like both of them. I'm like, what is going on? Anyway, Josh says that he feels like they're in a much better place than they were yesterday. And Catie says that she thinks that they're in a much worse place. Okay. She can't agree with anything.
I hate people who are just contrarian for the sake of just like, and this kept coming up where I was like, Catie, you're losing me. I mean, she lost me throughout this episode, but already at the beginning when she's like, actually, I'm having a bad time. Actually, I was like, okay, I don't know. Like,
and not even a place where she's like, oh, I'm actually not feeling well. And can we talk about it? Like, this is, no, it's just like, well, I'm not feeling good.
Not me.
Like, okay, you're just being annoying. And then Josh is like, okay, can you be a bit more understanding? Like, I gave up so much to be here and I feel like you're being really dismissive. And she's like, eh. And then she's like, I don't really get what the big deal is because I moved to the UK and Europe for a year and it just wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm having a hard time empathizing with you having to move countries. And it's like, girl, you didn't do that, as far as I understand, for Josh. And it was also just what seems like a year of exploration and like fucking around and having fun.
It was like an adult gap year.
Yeah, that is so different from immigrating to the US on a permanent residence visa. What the fuck are you talking about?
And he even says, like, you know, it's a really precarious time to be an immigrant in the US. And she's like, well, I guess I just like wouldn't be stressed by that.
What is the point of, like, she just has such unhelpful, contrarian things just to, and it's also like, Catie, I don't want to be mean. You get stressed out by anything. What do you mean that wouldn't stress you out? I don't believe you. And even if it were true that that in particular wouldn't stress you out, that has nothing to do with the fact that it stresses him out. That matters.
I have a statement to make, which I feel like it sounds extreme, but I don't think I've ever seen a moment where I see her care about Josh.
I hear you.
I've seen moments where she's maybe having fun with Josh or they're kind of interacting in some way, but I've never seen her express like sympathy for him, empathy. As she mentioned, she can't empathize because she did it, you know, but like I've never seen her be like, oh, I'm sad that my partner has this negative feeling, or I'm like, I've never seen her consider him once. And I find that so odd.
God, that's sad. I think you're right. And I do feel that there have been plenty of opportunities for her to do that.
Yeah. Even things as simple as, hey, my back hurts. Can we get dining chairs? No, do yoga. He's talking about his physical pain. He's talking about his emotional pain. He's talking about his experiences. I've not seen her take a single one of those little bids for connection or support and turn it into anything other than contradiction.
And like moral superiority, like, well, I wouldn't be stressed by that. That just,
I
it
wouldn't
hurt my back.
I know.
Who gives a shit? Even if that's true, it doesn't matter if it hurts him.
I agree.
Oh my God, I'm actually getting activated. This is pissing me off.
We're gonna go to Portland and pick him up.
We have a quick couple interview here where to Catie, Josh says that sometimes she says things that comes across as hurtful to him. And she's basically like, sometimes you read into things that you don't need to. Just so dismissive. And Josh says that he thinks that that's a cultural difference, which I don't.
Josh, you're having cultures do a lot of heavy lifting here.
Talk about the over-intellectualization of these problems that they have interpersonally. But anyway, he says that this is a cultural difference maybe, and in the UK, you have to read into things more. I do understand what he means, but I'm just trying to say I don't think that's the issue with you and Catie. But he says that he feels like he's putting in a lot of effort into understanding American ways of being, and he wishes that she would do the same for his, you know, Britishness. And she just says, we're in America. Catie.
Having the American disease towards a British person is so funny to me.
It's like the most similar you could possibly be to someone not from America, and you can't even handle it. Oh my God. Should we explain what the American disease is?
The American disease is a phrase that we've trademarked, which is what we call it when Americans on this show have that feeling of like, well, you're in America, therefore your existing culture doesn't exist. Therefore, like, you should just pretend you never had a life before you moved, and you should just love everything about America, etc.
Yeah, you factory reset the moment that you land here in America.
And they put you in a little Old Navy American flag t-shirt, and that's your life now.
Yeah. And that it's kind of inherently better to be here.
Yeah, that everyone wants to be in America. It's such a plus to be in America and to be grateful to be in America, etc.
Unfortunately, we still haven't figured out a cure, but it seems like Catie's really down bad with it. And it's revealed here in the moment that it's Catie's birthday, or at least they're having her birthday party today, and they're going to a bar with friends, shockingly.
Shocking. Also, might I add, the fact that she's putting more effort and care into her birthday party than moving is crazy to me.
That's so true. She really can organize things when she wants to.
You're moving into your home with your fiancé, which should be like such an exciting, fun thing, and you're like, ugh, I'll deal with that later. But it's my birthday party. You know, if you did a good enough job moving, you could even have your party at your home.
I mean, I think she struggles with alcoholism, and it doesn't then shock me that the thing that she can get motivation for and excitement for is the event where she'll be able to drink. So it's revealed in an interview that she has with the camera, and then she immediately goes and tells Josh directly that essentially she's invited a man named Ryan to the party, who's the friend that she made when she was living in Europe while she and Josh were together, who she made out with multiple times. So this is a affair partner, essentially.
made out with twice in front of Josh.
Jesus Christ, Catie.
4 times total, twice in front of Josh.
Anyway, so she's invited this person to the party and she tells Josh, and he is like mad, but in lowercase as always. So he goes, well, this is awkward. Yeah, it is. And Catie tells Josh that she invited Ryan kind of impulsively when she found out that he's going to be in town for work. And she didn't really think about what that would actually mean repercussion wise. And she really does have impulse control issues in a way that feels medical, and as far as I understand, does not track with OCD. I'm just saying.
I agree. I think there's some layered things happening here. I want to also add just one sentence she said before she revealed to Josh that he's coming. She says to the camera, I think there's a chance that when Josh finds out Ryan's coming to my party, he might not show up because he said he's never going within 20 feet of Ryan ever again.
Catie.
So this is like Josh's only sworn nemesis, which is interesting because Josh has a lot of patience for her other friends who she's hooked up with. So this is like clearly something more, you know?
Maybe the fact that it happened in front of him has something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Crazy. No one can figure out, what does Josh hate this Ryan guy? Anyway, so Josh tells the camera that he met Ryan in Germany when Catie was running the Berlin Marathon, and they all went out to a bar together, and he saw Catie and Josh kiss there in front of him, and Josh was not happy about it, and Catie went on to travel with Ryan and I think other people for over 2 weeks, like throughout Europe, and Josh went back to the UK. And at the time, Josh told Catie that she either needs to stop being around him and kissing him, or needs to admit that this relationship with him is not what she wants. And basically that Catie apologized, but still let it happen again. Okay, dude, picture actually being in that scenario as Josh. Your partner cheats on you, then goes gallivanting around in other countries where you're not with them for 2 weeks and is continuing to cheat on you during that time. The psychological torture that he was put through in that is genuinely so fucked up.
I would love to understand the explanation of what is happening with Catie, but I can't grasp it. Like, it's so bizarre to me.
Very. And Josh tells the camera that basically he's been choosing to take Catie at her word in this situation. My problem with that is she promised to not kiss him again and did it again, even on that trip. And then I'm a little fuzzy on it, but I think she's kissed other people since then as well. So what evidence does Josh have that proves he can take her at her word? Her word seems to mean nothing.
I agree. I also wanted to say here, I feel like there's a really big difference between what's happening here and what's happening with Mallorie and Raşit, where I feel like Raşit loses me a little bit with his like forceful thing of saying she can't be friends with Brandon, in part because he's really aggressive about it, he's going behind her back, etc. But also because like I honestly I don't think it's the norm that you can be friends with people who you've hooked up with, but it seems like the two of them have like developed a really strong friendship since then. And like if it's important to her, like okay, whatever. Like I don't think the friendship needs to be deleted from the world just because Raşit says that's his will. Mm-hmm. That being said, I feel like this is a totally different situation. This is someone who you cheated on your partner with actively.
And in front
this man
of
is
them.
an active threat to your relationship.
And who you're like not cutting contact off from. It's just some random guy who doesn't even live in your town. Dude, block him. There's no reason for you to have this dude in your life. Unless you want to keep him in your back pocket if you think that things won't work out with Josh. Sorry, that's the only reason she's keeping him in her life.
I know, unfortunately.
Okay. Catie tells Josh that she just really wants him and Ryan to be able to coexist. And again, I'm like, why? There's no reason. This is just some random dude you hooked up with. He shouldn't be in your life at all. And he shouldn't be in your life. And why the fuck should he be in Josh's life and like they have to get along? Why?
I know. It's so odd.
Stupid. Like, Catie, if you want to be polyamorous, just be polyamorous. Like, there's people who you live in
You're
Portland.
in Portland. You can get in a polycule so fast, but leave Josh out of it.
Catie tells Josh that she really wants to be a better partner, but she also loves seeking thrills and excitement. And she's like smiling while saying this in his face. And I'm like, Catie, you simply cannot have your cake and eat it too. And I believe Josh says that at one point in this episode. And it's so true. It's like, I also don't believe her that she wants to be a better partner. I think that she knows that's what she should do, but I don't believe that she really feels that way because she's made, as far as we can see, no efforts to do that, even when it's been explicitly told to her how she can do that.
I agree. And it kind of comes back to this thing I was saying about not seeing her seem to care for Josh in any sort of way, where it's like, she says she wants to be a good partner, but like there's a million things she could do to be a better partner, and she hasn't done a single one of them.
Right. And that's why she really lost me this episode. And Josh says that it makes him feel like a ball and chain, just weighing her down and not letting her live the party girl lifestyle. And he's like, I do not want this relationship with you if you're making out with other people. Crazy ultimatum. Josh asks Catie why she wants to keep Ryan in her life, given all the drama that goes along with it. And she says that he's fun. And when they're not making poor choices, he is a fun person.
That's the weakest reason I've ever heard. A lot of things are fun. A lot of people are fun.
They can also be bad for you, especially when alcohol is involved. And I have to say, to me, given Catie's context, this just translates to someone who enables her alcoholism and other self-destructive behaviors.
I agree.
In an interview with the two of them, Josh says to the camera that to him, if there's something that threatens his relationship with Catie, he just removes it from his life. It's not really even a question. And Catie says that she just likes having Ryan as a friend. So basically, she's not willing to do that here. And Josh asks Catie how she would feel if he was partying with other women. And Catie says that she would be hurt and jealous and wonder why he's friends with those girls. And she's like, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. This is what I'm talking about. She knows what's right, but she doesn't really care.
I agree.
I just want to point out, like, there's so much evidence for this. You know, it's not just, one or two off comments that, editing could whatever. It's just like, I don't know. We're getting so many things that show this.
I agree.
So now they're in the car going to the birthday party now. And Catie suggests to Josh that they have a competition tonight. Whoever kisses the most people wins. And she laughs at this.
Catie, some things aren't funny.
I also don't think she's kidding. Like, if he said yes, I feel like she'd be so down and they'd literally do that. Like, do you know what I mean? She's not joking even.
Haha, JK, unless?
And then he kind of jokingly, kind of passively is like, are you trying to get me to break up with you? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, what? And then she just laughs. And I'm like, why are you with someone that you don't respect or like?
I know.
I really don't want to sound harsh, but like, this is so upsetting. Okay, so now they arrive at the bar and, sorry, Josh is killing me showing up to a Portland bar hang in a full suit.
You know what? I didn't even notice his outfit. I'm gonna be so honest with you.
He's in a full suit. Everyone else is in like a t-shirt and shorts. It's killing me. I also think, maybe I'm being conspiratorial, but I low-key think this is also a symptom of Catie not appropriately guiding him culturally. You know what I mean? Like, if I am in her situation, I'd be like, oh, you're welcome to wear whatever you want. Just, by the way, you're gonna be the only one in a suit. Like, in Portland, we don't dress up.
Just FYI. Yeah.
I just feel that Josh is someone who like seems like he would adapt to whatever's appropriate. And it just was cracking me up that he's there in a fucking suit. He looks so out of place, and he is out of place. These people are not his type of people. I just have to say, in every way. You can just see it visually. Now we meet Ryan. He arrives at the bar, and it's revealed that Josh, the last interaction that they had was him texting Ryan to basically stop making out with his girlfriend, and it's unacceptable. And Catie, in the interview where he's revealing this, is like, basically like, yeah, that was so crazy. And I'm like, it's not crazy.
It's not, but I will say, I always find it weird when people in a relationship feel the need to like confront the like affair partner, where I'm like, that person has like nothing to do with your relationship. Like, I get that it sucks, but like the person who has made an obligation to you or like has made a promise to you is your partner. And like, I feel like if you can't resolve it through your partner directly, like that's enough of a reason to end the relationship, in my opinion. Like, I don't think the other person needs to be involved at all.
And you're right. Now we meet Ryan, and he shows up with a gift for Catie, and Catie is beaming at Ryan. She is so happy he's here. I've never seen her. I'm sorry. I've never seen her smile at Josh like that.
I know, it's really like, I really don't want to be joining the dog pile. And it's not that I'm like wanting to be mean, but I'm just like, Josh, like you seem like a really kind person. And like, I don't want to see you be treated like this, you know? And like,
yeah,
at this point we've seen enough. Even if this is only 1% of your relationship, it's still too much. It's too many individual circumstances to tolerate, in my opinion.
Yes. Anyway, like at one point, Ryan takes off his jacket and Catie gives him like a up and down. Like, she is gawking at him, and they like compliment each other's outfits. It just is flirty. And at one point, a friend in this conversation playfully asks Catie if she thinks she can settle down now that she's engaged, or if she still craves the party life. And she says that she still craves the party life.
Does she know it's an option to get engaged? You can also say no.
Yes, I know, it's killing me. Now Josh, Catie, and Ryan go outside to chat because this is a reality TV show and the producers will have their way. And Josh basically asks Ryan, why are you here? And Ryan says that it seemed like a fun time. And he and Catie have had quite a few conversations about what Catie really wants in her life. And during this, Catie is like avoiding eye contact with Josh and just keeps like drinking her beer. It's so weird. And Ryan asks Catie if she knows what she wants with her life. And she says, I think so. And Josh is like, I didn't get the exact quote, but he says something like, we get married. And that's where the section ends. And it's just...
Can I go into conspiracy mode for a quick second?
Always.
This is now the second time on this season that we've seen a party where undesirable guests are invited and then for some reason cannot be uninvited.
Yeah. Yes.
Why is that? If she impulsively invited him, she could, I mean, I know it's a little clumsy, but she could text him and be like, hey, like, honestly, I feel really bad, but like, I shouldn't have invited you. Like, I know it would be really upsetting for Josh. Like, please don't come. And then we all had the party with Mallorie where she was like, yeah, all these like racist people are coming. We can't uninvite them. And I'm like, why? I don't know. Like, I'm like, do the producers really want these like conflicts at the parties? I don't know. But like, that's weird to me that now twice it's like, oops, they've been invited. I guess that's that.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. It's really weird. Overall, I think you and me have been extremely patient and really, really been trying to see the good in Catie and this relationship and trying to understand also what Josh likes about this relationship.
And trying to leave space for an unfortunate edit.
Yes, and simply the fact that, as Catie has been open about, she has a mental illness. Like, she acts in ways as a result of that are unlikable and frustrating, etc. There still is taboo around mental illness, and we really like don't want to dogpile based off of like a bad edit and these other factors. I really feel lost. I feel that I cannot do that at this point. Of course, I'm going to continue to try, but this episode, I was really like, I don't know if I can support this relationship.
I know this episode, they lost me. I'm going to be honest. And I don't want to be so black and white. And maybe like there's many episodes left. Maybe they'll have like a beautiful redemption arc. I'm always open. But in this moment, in this current iteration, if Josh were my friend IRL, I would say, this is not a good relationship for you. You're not being treated well. You deserve better.
We'd be pulling an Astra. Get out.
Oh, yeah, we would be.
And it just makes me sad because, like, Josh genuinely does seem like a really kind-hearted person. And I respect whatever decision both of them make, like whether it's to stay in this relationship or leave. But I have to say, as an outsider who perhaps is getting swayed by an edit or perhaps can see things more clearly because we're not in it, it's really, really not looking good and borderline abusive to Josh. Maybe that's too far, but like I feel really uncomfortable with how little respect Catie truly has for Josh and how she consistently makes promises to do things and to respect his boundaries and then goes and does the exact opposite of that, not even long after.
The absence of care and concern is concerning. I feel like we're showing more care and concern in this moment than she's shown in the whole show, which is unfortunate.
I think that Josh shows so much care and concern for Catie and maybe not enough for himself. And Katie's the opposite. She has so much care and concern and understanding for herself. And then when it comes to Josh, she's like, I don't know, stretch. Why does your back hurt? That's stupid. Well, he's my friend. I'm not going to uninvite him to the party. And do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, I don't understand how that dynamic can be healthy.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is Josh is looking out for Catie. Katie's looking out for Catie. Who's looking out for Josh?
God, that makes me sad. We'll find out next week.
We have a more exciting couple coming up, Ashia and Maxwell.
God, goofy as hell. I love them.
By the way, this episode, when I saw Ashia's mom, Juliet, immediately I knew what you're talking about with her being a cute little turtle.
Did you see it?
Now that I had that concept in my mind, I was like, oh my God, she is a cute little turtle. So the three of them, Juliet and Ashia and Maxwell, are in the car going from the airport to, we learn, an apartment that they rented just for this visit. So it wasn't Maxwell's actual house that we saw. It was a rented apartment, which looked luxurious as a fuck, might I add.
Dude, really nice. But ignore my comment last episode about like, oh, like the family's living well. It's not exactly what I expected. We have no idea what his parents or Maxwell, if he lives separately, what any of their living situations look like.
So already they're just in the car and I just love Juliet. She's just so judgy about everything. Like, I just love the way she goes through the world.
I feel that if we knew this lady in real life, she'd be so fucking annoying. But on TV, she's amazing. Maybe you would love her. She would piss me off.
I think she's the kind of person I would want to be sitting on a bench with looking out at the world together, I would not want her directing that gaze towards me ever.
Yes.
So in the car, Ashia is wearing jeans with like kind of rips at the thigh and then a tank top. And Maxwell tells her to cover up with a sweater before she meets his family. I'm like, okay, I know religions exist. I really hate when people make such a big deal out of shoulders, but it's cultural. I'll take it. It's always a delicate balance, as we've talked about so many times, about respecting other people's cultures and honoring your own boundaries. But I just never like the vibe of like, cover up. I just don't like women being told what to do.
I mean, fundamentally, a lot of my frustrations in this section was I was like, well, I just hate conservative cultures and people. And so everyone's annoying me.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. So we meet Clement and Maria, Maxwell's parents.
I don't know what you felt about this, but when they arrive at the apartment, Ashia walks in first and then her mom and then Maxwell. So it's to the point where Ashia and Maxwell are probably separated by 10 feet. Asia's way ahead of him. And Ashia walks in so casually and is just like, mommy, daddy to Maxwell's parents. And I thought that was weird as fuck. First of all, mommy, daddy, weird. Second, her coming in first, I felt like that was really weird. Is it just me?
It didn't strike me, but I know what you mean. I mean, I think we see this later in the episode that, like, they're not showing the classic Nigerian gender norms.
Yeah, but I even felt like for an American, I felt it was weird and extremely familiar in a way that I get that y'all are going to become family theoretically, but I just really hate when people act too familiar too quickly. It's a real ick for me. And these people do not know Ashia that well. We know that. Like, she's met them probably once, like on the trip she took. I don't know how close y'all could be.
I do agree with you. I guess it doesn't strike me because Ashia seems like the kind of delusional person who would like think she's closer with people than she is. Like it didn't strike me as like a out of character thing. Like I do think it's objectively weird. I just think it's consistent with how she goes through the world.
I agree.
So Maria, Maxwell's mom, says that Maxwell, as their firstborn son, is the most important person in their life. I hate this shit. I know a lot of cultures this way, but I hate it.
It's always stupid. Sorry.
She's worried that Maxwell is basically behaving like a fool through the fact that love is blind. And okay, she's probably onto something with this. I don't love his parents' energy, but like there were a lot of things where I was like, yeah, that's actually probably true what you're saying.
Yeah, they were blunt, but were they wrong? No.
And Ashia at this point kind of addresses the topic that you were wondering about, which is like why this one sister is such a theme. And it's basically that Maxwell's sister Blaze is the, private investigator of the family. And okay, as the resident PI of my community, love to see that. But then Ashia later was talking about like, Blaze is crazy. She went through my whole Facebook page. I'm like, that's private investigator? That's level 1.
Has she looked at your voting records?
Yeah, like
where you live?
Has she contacted the county and tried to get public records? Like, I mean, there is so much more to see than just a Facebook. And I'm like, if you think that is creepy, like, wait till you know how much people on the internet can find out about you.
Oh, Ashia, you don't want to know what we can do.
Yeah, seriously. And that's a threat.
Allegedly.
Anyway, so Ashia meets the sisters. And I will say again, to your point, there was the sense of over familiarity, even though I'm pretty sure they haven't actually ever met in real life.
From Ashia to the family?
From Ashia to the sisters.
Yeah, it was weird. Even if they'd met once or twice. I mean, for me, I've lived with my in-laws. I don't even think I talked to them like this. I don't know. It felt inappropriate to me.
It was a lot. So now they all sit down to dinner and they're eating Nigerian food. And classic Juliet hates the Nigerian food. She hates everything. I love the way she goes through the world.
She's disgusted.
And then Maxwell's parents tell Ashia that they're going to teach her how to cook Nigerian food. And she's like, oh, you can teach me and Maxwell. And they're so fucking serious. They're like, no, men don't enter the kitchen. I know. Patriarchal culture 101. I get it.
But they're really serious. It was funny. They weren't like, no, Maxwell won't be doing that. It was like, what? Him near the fridge or the stove? Disgusting.
Literally, it's like the reaction transphobic people have at the thought of like a trans woman in the locker room. What? You cannot enter the kitchen. Like, it's like, okay.
It's gender affirming for men to not go in the kitchen.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, but so they then ask Ashia how many kids she wants. She says 2. I felt like I was really missing something here because they were gasping for air as though this was the most shocking thing you could say. And it turns out they want her to have 4 kids. I mean, I thought Ashia honestly had a pretty good response here. She's like, I'll have as many kids as God gives me. Like,
she ate them up with that because they couldn't really say anything to that. And it leaves room for 0 as well.
No, but like the way they were gasping when she said 2, it would be the response if I said, how many kids do you want? And you said 15. And I go,
what the hell?
That's like the difference between 2 and 4 is not even that significant.
It's not. It's also like, do they not know that this lady is almost 40? How the fuck is she gonna have 4 kids? She's lucky if she can have 2.
And they haven't even figured out what visa he's gonna be on. Like, they're not even currently living together. They can't even have sex yet because they're not even married.
So what? Sorry, I'm really too logistical, but I'm like, okay, so maybe they start trying when she's 41 at the earliest. That's hard. I don't know. It's not impossible, but I'm like, you're lucky if you'll have 2 kids.
4 after 41 is a lot.
Also, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Oh my God.
And also, sorry, patriarchal cultures. Okay, I don't like women being viewed as baby-making machines against their will.
Yep.
Then Blaze, the sister, the alleged PI, says that in Nigeria, women are expected to submit to men, and is like asking if Ashia will submit to Maxwell, and Ashia basically says, not really. And she somehow segues this into saying like, well, you know, she's given Maxwell so much good advice about things. For example, getting a chemical peel. And then he starts pulling up his chemical peel progress pics to show his family. Those pictures are fucking gross. You know the way like your whole like 10 layers of skin peel off in a crust? Like it's so gross.
It's
and
disgusting.
like no one is that excited
They're
about
like,
these
oh,
pictures.
Ew. They're like, yeah, I guess it looks better now than when it was peeling off.
But I will say the family has a concern, which I do think is legitimate, which is that like Ashia is trying to change everything about him. Mm-hmm. And it's revealed a new thing Ashia's trying to change about him. She thinks the whites of his eyes aren't white enough. Basically, she reveals she wants him to make his eyes whiter chemically. And I'm like, okay, Ashia.
How does it even work?
Where does this end? First of all, you really can't be fucking around with your eyes. I mean, that's like...
Not for vanity.
But also, like, whenever Ashia has this obsession, like, honestly, I do think it's something pathological because, like, to look at your partner and only see things you can change about them. And again, not just one, like, look, if your partner has, like, a big pimple, you see the big pimple, I get that. It's like, hey, I would like to change everything starting from your hair to your forehead, to your eyebrows, to your eyeballs, to your... It's like, okay, like, what is that? I've never heard of that.
It's really unhealthy. I've certainly never heard of it in this gender bent way. You know what I mean? I mean, we all know like a freaky man. I mean, not personally.
Yeah, but to the degree of the whites of your eyes aren't white enough.
Like, come on now.
I feel like we hear men being like, I want you to get a boob job. I want you to get your lips done, blah, blah, blah. But like, she's just going to the really niche stuff where it just feels like it's something else. Like it's just an obsession in some weird way.
She's treating this like the Build-A-Bear factory. Like, you can't just build a man.
Even at Build-A-Bear, you don't pick the eye color. I mean, it's
true.
It's just weird. And the family thinks it's weird as hell.
It's also funny to me because I'm like, Ashia, where does God's will start and end? Because couldn't you say that how Maxwell looks is God's will?
So
what makes you
true.
think that you can play God here, huh?
No, that's such a good point. I mean, this is obviously a bigger theological question of like, you know, how much is God and how much is just like a circumstance? Mm-hmm. The way nature gives you cancer, but then God heals your cancer, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I am like, yeah, I am also wondering, like, God sent you the perfect man and like he's in a different country. Your visa situation is simply not working out. His family fucking hates you. You guys may or may not be culturally compatible. And you want to change everything about the way he looks.
What do you like about him? She's very Catie in that way. It's like, so wait, what do you like about this person?
Counterpoint, she was at the pond and the geese were very loud.
And that showed God's will. We don't know what he wanted, but there was a will.
Love to see them on our screen, but every time they confuse the fuck out of me.
Love it. Now we have Marissa and Edward, and we get to meet Marissa's family, which was it really happened. I can't say it was a treat. It just was something that happened to our screens. So we open with Marissa and Edward setting up the kitchen together for the party where the family will come and mingle with Edward and everything. And the two of them are fucking nervous, I will say. That is so clear up front. And Marissa in an interview basically just says to the camera that Edward is not the type of guy that her family would typically choose for her. And so that's the base of her worries. Joan or Joanne and Bob arrive, which are Marissa's mom and stepdad. I'll just call her Marissa's mom because I don't want to mispronounce her name. But Marissa's aunt, uncle, cousin, and cousin's boyfriend also arrive. And Marissa, you know, they all gather around the table. They're eating food. And Marissa tells this cute little story about how last night she and Edward were hanging out in bed and cuddling. and one of her sons, Cole, ran in and jumped on them. And it just made Marissa so happy that Cole already feels so comfortable with Edward. And it was just a sweet little story. She's clearly trying to endear Edward to the family. And I will say that Marissa's cousin and her boyfriend seem a lot more warm to Edward than particularly Marissa's mom. So I did like that at least Edward seems to have like someone who's like welcoming him, you know?
I agree. I'm sorry, I have to say the elephant in the room. Marissa's mom looks fucking amazing. Whoever did her facelift did a wonderful job. That lady's skin is taut.
But not too taut. She looks fantastic.
She looks amazing. Ugh. Yeah. I had so many criticisms of her, but then I kept just gazing upon her and being like, oh my God, your skin, your hair. You are so beautiful.
You know what vibe she was giving me overall?
Mm-hmm.
She was giving me Lucille Bluth vibes for sure.
Yeah, a little bit. I know what you mean.
Not 100%, but just kind of like bitchy, opinionated,
put together,
rich white lady who on some level you kind of get why they're that way because it feels like they actually have stuff to back it up.
Yeah.
So she was kind of a villain, but in a way where you're like, I can't help but kind of love her.
Kind of iconic. I know.
Yeah. Like I can't hate her totally. So anyway, Marissa's mom comes out swinging in this conversation and says that things aren't always going to be smooth sailing. That's how she responds to this cute little story about the son accepting Edward. And Marissa's kids are excited right now, but they're not always going to be like that. And it's like, yeah, thanks so much. I'm sure they haven't considered that. Thanks. That's really helpful.
I know.
I love when people like say something where they think, I bet on some level she thinks she's like being helpful. Like, oh, I bet they haven't considered that things might be hard. And it's like, they definitely have considered that.
They know. Yeah, I think they have access to the same information, generally speaking, that you do. So, yeah.
It's really not helpful to talk about issues that aren't happening. It's like with Debby and Mido. Debbie's friends are like, hey, this issue that is literally happening right now is concerning me for XYZ reason. They're not like, oh, I wonder if one day Mido is going to miss his family so much and want to go home.
What if he becomes really famous and then leaves you?
Yeah, it's just like, okay. I'm sure they've considered it and they'll get to it when they do. Anyway. We now have an interview with Marissa's mom where she doesn't hold any punches. And she says that when Marissa first told her about Edward and that they're planning to get married, she wasn't supportive at all due to the age and cultural differences. And she made that clear to Marissa. And I'm sure she did.
I believe it. Yeah.
It was implied here that Marissa didn't tell her mom about Edward until they were already engaged, which I found as a dynamic really interesting.
I get it, though. If your mom is so judgy, I do get it.
Oh, I'm not judging Marissa for that. Also, there's a chance that's not true, but I was just like, okay, noted. Marissa's mom, in the moment now at the table with everyone, tells Edward that she's just worried about her daughter because she has a beautiful heart. Edward acknowledges that probably everyone here is worried that he's just using Marissa to get a visa and stuff like that, but he wants the opportunity to show them that that is not the case. And Marissa's mom says to him, Edward, talk is cheap and we'll see what you're made of. What the fuck?
Very combative.
It's on some level fair for Marissa's mom to have these worries, but I really hated the way that she was in front of everyone, just explicitly naming them. And to your point, in a really combative, like aggressive way. It did not even feel productive. I'm like, you're just like being mean or something. Why are you doing this?
Also, like before she has evidence to the contrary, like, I don't know, it'd be one thing to say talk is cheap to like a Catie where it's like, I'm not going to kiss anymore. It's like, well, talk is cheap. Let me see it, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like Edward hasn't shown himself to be untrustworthy yet. And so I feel like, why are we starting out with this negative tone to begin with, you know?
Great point. Now, Marissa, Edward, Marissa's mom, and Marissa's cousin go outside to have a more private conversation. I'm like, yeah, maybe we could have waited for this. Anyway, I will note that the cousin acknowledges that Marissa is a smart person who wouldn't have taken this risk with Edward if she wasn't confident it was going to work out. So I'm glad that cousin is in their corner and expressing that in front of Marissa's mom. I did appreciate her for that. And Marissa's mom says something that I really felt could be a dog whistle, in my opinion. She's like, you know, people come here from other countries because they want to come to America because it's a wonderful place. I feel that with no caveats is a really interesting thing to say in this day and age politically.
I agree. It was a little suspiciously patriotic. Also, like, I understand the language of like a lot of people want to come to the US for certain opportunities or, you know, but she was like, because it's the best country. And I was like, well, okay.
Objectively not true, but
yeah. And even he's like, actually, I really like my country.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I mean, you just FYI, I sacrificed a lot to be here. And I understand that America is a wonderful country, but I was really doing fine in my own. Like, I didn't need to be here. Period, Edward.
Yeah, I was happy he said that.
And Marissa's mom asks him what it is about Marissa that is so special to Edward. I thought this is really interesting. So he kind of meanders through this response.
He fumbled a little, yeah.
He says that he's been through a lot. He learned what he wants in a relationship as a result, and he lists respect and loyalty as those things that he wants. And he says that the only person that he found with all those good qualities is Marissa, and that made him realize that that's his person. And we have an interview here with Marissa talking about it where she says that she didn't really like the reasons he gave, and she thought that it was a bit too macho and didn't highlight her specific good qualities, like about who she really is as a person. Okay, I'm really curious what you think, because I do understand what she's saying objectively, but I don't feel like it's taking into account that Edward was so clearly on like a 10 stress level wise. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it was his most, like his best response. I feel like he was like on the verge of shitting himself from fear of your mom. I don't know. I kind of give him a pass for not having a perfect answer.
I agree. However, I will say I think a really big rule of thumb that a lot of people don't follow is when someone asks you, what do you love about me? Or what do you love about, my family member, my friend? Do not just list things that they do for you.
True.
List things that are specific to them as a person. And I think that it rubbed me the wrong way a little bit too, that he's like, she doesn't lie to me, she respects me, she is loyal. And it's like, well, in theory, anybody could be those things. I feel like what you as a community member want to hear is like, oh, like I love what a wonderful mom she is, what a big heart she has, I love her humor, her way of going through the world, like specific things about that person. Vibe wise, I think it makes a massive difference. And it's always a little awkward when it's like, she cooks for me, she makes me laugh, she's nice to me, and it's like, oh, okay, like. And I think that was kind of the issue here, is it was centering himself in a way that didn't feel specific to Marissa at all.
And I agree. It wasn't perfect. I did have empathy for why. Look,
I had empathy for why, but I also feel like counterpoint, it is such a stressful situation, in part because the family is like looking for reasons to not like him. And then when he gives a bad response, it like perpetuates the cycle even more. You know what I mean? So, because I think if he had had like a really amazing response that was really specific to Marissa, it would have maybe taken a little bit of the heat off of him. So that's why it's like, it's just unfortunate. I don't think it was malicious or terrible. It was just a little bit unfortunate.
We can call it an orange flag. I don't think it's a full red one.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And Marissa's mom says that basically her worry right now is that Edward and Marissa have had their relationship on vacation time, but not really in the real world yet. And she says the 90 days, in her opinion, isn't really enough time, but at least they do have the 90 days to learn more about each other and figure out if this is the right decision. And I don't know, again, I'm like, yeah, duh. I don't know. They know that. Why are you saying it? Like, I find it so unhelpful. I'm like, yeah, I think they're very aware of that. And Edward promises Marissa's mom that he's going to do everything he can during that time. And okay, Marissa's mom said something so spooky. She says she hopes that this relationship works and, quote, if it doesn't, let's hope that God is with you and that God's will is done. Why did that feel like a hex?
It really did feel creepy.
I would be so off-put if, like, I don't know.
I know. No, it was weird. Also, it's especially spooky paired with a negative.
It's almost as if you're wishing that's God's will.
But it's also like, well, I hope that you guys have a happy life and that God's will be done. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's like, oh, okay. But it's like, if it doesn't work out, God's will. It was like, ugh, scary.
It's like you're preordaining that God doesn't want this to happen. And I think it's
weird.
It's just
yeah,
mean.
Didn't love it.
Anyway, so Marissa's mom was definitely fucking intense, and like Edward had a right to be nervous, but overall I felt like it didn't go too poorly, and I hope she can chill because, whoa, there was a lot. But she was kind of iconic.
Next up, we have Thomas and Paula. Thomas and Paula are going for a hike. I don't know why, side note, if I'm like in a fight with someone, the last thing I want to do is go on a hike with them, but they are like, this is like shortly after he super glued her perfume. Now they're going on a hike and they are going to drive to the hiking trail. And Paula asks if like at some point in time, Thomas could open a car door for her. And like, he basically says no.
Why? Like, it's not that hard.
And then she's asked if like she can drive at some point, and he says no. Like, he's like, not now. Like, there's just this like weird, a lot of no's happening in this conversation.
I know, he's being very combative.
But in the car, they start this perfume fight again. And Paula tells the camera that she's confused by the perfume allergy thing just because they've spent a lot of time with other people wearing perfume and Thomas has never had a reaction to anybody else's perfume, which is interesting. I'll give her that. That's interesting.
That was suspicious as hell. And she says that she thinks it's a way for him to control her. And I was like, whoa.
As soon as I hear the word control, I'm like, okay, then we got to explore that more.
Sorry, that's a really serious concern for you to be having. That's wild.
I agree. And then also it's cracking me up. Thomas in the car keeps being like, I don't know what's happening. My nose is running. My sinuses. And I'm like, also, maybe you have a cold. You know what I mean? Like he's acting like it's one thing if he's like, oh my God, my vision is blurred all of a sudden or something crazy. You know?
I can't
but he's
breathe.
like, my nose is, he's like, why is my nose running? Usually it's not. And I'm like, it's possible that it's a lot of other
number
things
of
as
different
well.
things.
Yeah,
it could be
but,
seasonal
okay.
allergies. Yeah. You're actually outside. Like maybe it's that.
But basically, he tells the camera that Paula seems to view his allergies as a personal attack on her as opposed to an objective reality, which again, is just interesting that they're able to draw so much conflict out of such a dumb topic.
It's so stupid.
And Paula says, I never knew that in only 2 days we would have this much of problem.
Good. Yeah, me neither. Seems impressive.
And then like they keep fighting with the perfume, but then they both kind of basically say like, I don't want to fight anymore. And they like find this kind of middle ground, which seems like, doesn't seem like they really resolved anything, but it seems like they're just like, let's just move forward, which, okay, I guess fine.
And they kind of both cry and hug. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't get why we're having such big emotions. And I don't get why this was such a big deal in the first place, but I'm glad that they made up to each other, I guess.
Yeah. At least they have a desire to, repair and move on.
Yes.
So in the next section, they're at home and Thomas is just upside down in this crazy pose. And
like doing yoga. I don't know. He was doing something crazy.
And they're having this extended conversation while he's upside down, which is just cracking me up so much. But another fight is brewing, which is that Paula needs hangers for her clothing. And okay, by the way, I would be upset about this. He's given her those shitty hangers you get for free when you get your dry cleaning back.
And he says that they're really good hangers.
And she also wants to get like a little dresser, and he doesn't want to get a dresser because he says she can hang everything, and the stuff she can't hang, like underwear, she can just put in this like weird little box he provides her with.
Thomas, you simply know that that's not true, right?
Also, it's like the difference. He's like this box is huge. She should be able to fit everything. It's like, okay, maybe
12 by 12 inches. It was not that big.
It wasn't huge, but I mean, look, you could fit a lot of stuff in there. I think so. But the point is, maybe I don't want all my underwear and socks randomly stacked on top of each other, mixed up in a big box. Maybe she wants the ability to like separate things in different drawers or whatever. And Thomas does say he's never lived with a woman before, which is not shocking to me. So now we're already queuing up the next fight because Paula removes a crystal from her suitcase, a pretty large black tourmaline that she paid $250 for. She says, quote, that she invested $250 into.
Paula.
And look, the language of investment for a rock would have pissed me off. But then she kind of ate with us because she was like, if we're talking about investments, like bad investments, like maybe I think your rollerblades are a bad investment.
Love that.
He's like, they're a good investment because they don't take gas and I can just like drive around in them. I'm like, oh yeah.
I don't think you can go on the 101 in your fucking rollerblades, Thomas. You also have a car. Don't annoy me.
Oh, we have seen him take his rollerblades on the bus.
That's true.
But
wait, sorry. Also, can I just say about this fucking rock? It did remind me of that prank trend on TikTok a while ago.
The anthropology rock.
The fucking anthropology rock. For anyone who doesn't know, is like these hilarious women, but a bunch of people were doing it. But it's like they would like just like get some random stone from outside and then wrap it and pretend to give it to their mom like for Christmas in front of like their dad or whatever. And they'd both be like freaking out, like, wait, oh my God, is this
the anthropology rock?
Is this the $500 anthropology rock? I thought they were sold out. And like the men in these videos are the people not a part of the prank, like we're always just like they're like, you fucking spent $500 on a rock. I can go get one from outside. It's just so fucking funny. And it was really giving me that energy, but it wasn't a prank.
Yeah, unfortunately it was not a prank. And Thomas here brings up a point, which again, I hate to say it, but was fair, which is he is financially responsible for her. He's sponsored her. And she cannot work yet. So he has to provide for her financially. And he has decided, which I think was actually really kind, to get her a credit card that's linked to his bank account. Because he's like, most places are cashless nowadays and like, she needs a card to have independence. But for some reason, he couldn't lower the limit from $25,000. And like, I don't know, somehow I struggle to believe that, but okay. And he is concerned about her having access to $25,000 when she, I guess, has a history of like having credit card debt and views a $250 rock as an investment. And he's worried she's going to spend all his money on rocks and mini furniture. And I think that is valid.
I hate how this show is making me side with not one, but two men this episode. What do you mean?
I know. And I will say, Paula, I really like you overall, but I do feel you're not taking seriously enough the fact that you are 100% financially dependent on this person. And sorry, hot take. I think when someone is providing 100%, they are allowed to have a little bit more say in what money is spent on.
Counterpoint. She does seem to have a very successful business in Brazil, and I assume has savings. She's not inherently completely dependent on him.
But then why is she not spending her money? Why is she on his credit card?
It's a good question. I'm confused.
She'd be able to access her own savings. I mean, in theory, she could have wired some of her money. If he's talking about her repeatedly being in credit card debt, maybe she doesn't have that good of savings.
I'm confused. I need some clarification.
I definitely need more information because there's obviously a slippery slope where you don't want to get into the realm of like financial abuse where like your partner can't work and they're not allowed to make any choices. That being said, I feel like more like frivolous stuff. Like I do feel like it's fair that the person who's making the money has like a little bit of input of like, please don't spend the money that I earned on a bunch of rocks.
I totally agree. Crazy request. Which one's more crazy request this episode? Hey, Catie, please don't kiss other people while we're in a relationship. Or hey, please don't spend my money on rocks. Sound off in the comments.
Hard to say, but that's basically it. But it's just funny with this couple. They always queue up the next fight.
Yeah. As soon as you think it's better.
Oh, we resolved the perfume thing? Okay, new thing. They keep it fresh at least.
I do. Up next, we have Shea and Anabelle, and we're starting with Allison dropping Anabelle off at home after the nightmare spa date. And Shea asks Anabelle if she's still upset with him, and she says she's feeling better. But I just hate the way that in this conversation he's having his attitude is low-key just like, you done being mad?
Are you over it yet?
He didn't give a shit about cheating on her, and he doesn't think that he did anything wrong, to be honest. He doesn't seem remorseful at all. But for whatever reason, she says that she's going to forgive him and like move on. I'm like, okay, girl, get that green card. I love it.
Yeah.
And Anabelle tells Shea that basically why she forgives him is that Allison and Angie said that he's a good guy. So
that was easy.
I guess she's taking the word of these people who she doesn't like, which is a little suspicious to me. Whatever. I don't care if this is a transactional relationship for her. And honestly, at this point, I've told myself it is because the concept of her genuinely being attracted to and loving Shea is so preposterous. I refuse to believe it. I can't live in that world. And basically now Shea is like, okay, anyway, it's football night tonight, so we can go watch a game and drink some beers and hang out with friends. And she says, no, I'll stay at home and you can't drink beer tonight. Shea, just when you thought you got off scot-free. And Annabelle says, you're going to drink herbal tea with me tonight and we're doing yoga together. I love
this. I mean, I love her taking control. This whole sequence, though, following this made me genuinely concerned for this man's well-being and longevity.
I thought we were going to see him have a heart attack on camera. He says he's never done yoga and he's like disgusted. He's like, I've never done yoga. And in an interview with the couple, Annabelle says that Shea gained a lot of weight since she last saw him in the Philippines. And she complains that because because he's fat, she always has to be on top during sex and do all the work. Your face. I'm doing my yoga meditation breathing here. In one nostril, out the other. It's always more than we need to know, you guys. It's always too much. But also, I'm not shocked. And even he goes, that's not about the weight. I just like that you do all the work. I'm like, yeah, I knew it. I knew he's the kind of person who wouldn't want to ever put any effort in. I don't care and I don't want to be a part of their sex life, but I kind of don't believe him because they now drink tea and then start doing yoga together. And he says it's hard to breathe. This man is dead ass on the verge of a heart attack.
Can we talk about what they're doing for yoga? They're sitting on the ground with their legs crossed, which he can't do.
Please.
She guides him to putting his hands in the air. I'll even demonstrate for our YouTube watchers. Putting his hands in the air and literally just stretching like this.
Like side to side.
And he goes, I can't breathe.
Shea, how do we get to this point?
I can't breathe having my arms above my head and just like barely swaying side to side. I don't want to shame people, but it's like, I'm not coming from a place of shame. I'm coming from a place of like, go to the doctor and get an EKG or something, because like that is really not normal. That putting your hands above your head causes you to be exhausted.
And he's sitting down. Like, yeah, like it's not, ooh, like no calories are being burnt. Like this, you're basically sedentary right now and it's hard. That's really genuinely scary. And then she, while they're doing the stretching, she tells them that they should pray while they do it. And I'm like, okay, I've never heard of this.
There's like a meditative kind of element to it.
Maybe that's
like
what she
setting
meant.
an intention or whatever.
Manifesting stuff. I don't know. And she out loud prays that he won't cheat on her again, which is, I hope your prayers are answered, Annabelle. And he prays that right now he was having a beer while watching football with the guys. And I'm like, okay, so different types of prayers. Also, I don't think that's how praying works. I don't think you can pray and be like, it's not, I wish. It's not, I wish I was doing something else right now. I think a prayer is like for something in the future, no?
The future or something.
I pray that right now I'm doing something else. I've never prayed, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
That was the funniest exchange. Like, especially because she went first. It wasn't like he didn't understand the assignment. She's like, I pray for you that you never cheat anymore. I'm praying I had a beer. It's like,
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
She is such a lost cause. I'm almost like, dude, if you wouldn't have had a beer tonight, there's a really good chance that you would have a heart attack and die. You're on the verge.
I'm really worried. That, you know what? The proof that he's still alive is that he likes some more TikToks.
Oh my God. Proof of life. Yeah.
Proof of life. Finally, we have Mallorie and Raşit. Again, a very small snippet. They're reflecting on the party that we had to endure over multiple episodes for some reason.
The white trash bash.
Yeah, the white trash bash. They're in an interview, the two of them. And Mallorie says, in the American spirit, Rash got white girl wasted like he wanted to. And he says, what's this mean? And she's explaining white girl wasted, and he's just like, he's literally not hearing the words she's saying. And then she's like explaining to him, and he's kind of doing that thing of like, oh, haha, okay. And then she's like, white girl wasted. And he's like repeating, but he's clearly not repeating the words she's saying. Like he didn't actually comprehend the words she's saying. And again, I'm not shitting on someone for not speaking English, but I worry about their communication. I really do, because like the words coming out of her mouth are not being received by his brain in the way she intends.
He says white goat wasting.
White goat wasting.
His level of English genuinely concerns me.
Same.
Look, if he's getting in a situation where already he didn't understand culturally that he can't, which I wouldn't know either, but that he can't sit on a tailgate without a guy getting pissed at him and that's a sign of dominance, I'm like genuinely worried he's going to get killed. Because he's not going to understand what someone's saying to him in Alabama.
I know. And I will say, this is neither here nor there, but they're later having a conversation because he wants to cook a Turkish breakfast because he's hungover, so he wants Turkish food, and the dish he's making is apparently spicy. And so Mallorie makes some comment about like her butthole's going to hurt or something classy like that.
Ew. Dingleberry's going to be coming out of it.
Stop. So then he picks up on this and he's talking about it, and him discussing the process of spicy food that will then make your butthole hurt and cry, his words, that was the clearest I've ever heard him describe anything, unfortunately.
Not him being so good at potty humor only.
I know. I was like, wow, for once, I truly followed your full train of thought.
That's crazy. But after he says white goat wasting, Mallorie laughs super hard. And I don't want to be like overly sensitive, the friend that's too woke, but it's actually starting to piss me off because I'm like, dude, her laughing and like just treating it with such levity repeatedly. It's not like, oh, he said one thing wrong and it's like, I said something stupid and it sounded funny this one time. It's like this guy who you're planning to get married to is having such a hard time understanding a simple phrase. Even if he didn't know what the meaning was, he couldn't repeat white girl wasted. Like, I don't know, something about how she thinks it's so charming and funny that like he doesn't know her. He doesn't understand the words she's saying. He can't understand her interiority. I find it really concerning, and I don't know. I don't think it's funny. I don't like that she thinks it's funny.
It's almost a variation of fetishization in that I feel like she's reducing him to some like commodity of like, oh, my cute little Turkish boat captain.
Yes.
But we're not viewing him as like a full human with like full communication capabilities, etc. And that's again what kills me with him is like I feel everyone in the comments going, oh my god, he's the sweetest guy ever. I think they're doing a version of this.
Yes.
They're taking him and be like, oh my God, what a cute little whatever. And it's like, okay, if you think he's handsome, say he's handsome. I'll take that. But they're like building this whole world based on like some flattened version of this person. And I'm like, this is a real 3D person with a whole life of experiences and a head full of thoughts and whatever. And like, I don't even know if I agree with those thoughts because I haven't heard them expressed that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The ones I have heard I didn't like.
Yeah.
But anyway, like my point is like, I think it's all part of this where it's like, oh, like cute little guy. And it's like, he's like her little Ken doll. And I find it really weird. I know exactly what you're saying.
I think that if you don't really care what your partner has to say deeply about things and you don't mind that they can't understand you, I think that's concerning.
I agree. At this point, Raşit basically is telling Mallorie about the conversation he had with Brandon the night before. Mallorie basically says she would have responded the same way as Brandon if someone told her, like, you can't talk to my fiancé anymore.
And that's why her and Brandon are maybe a better match than her and Raşit.
I know. And Raşit really wants her, as we know, to cut Brandon out of her life. She says she really can't cut Brandon out of her life entirely, in part because, for example, he is best friends with her best friend, Michaela's husband.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, you know, we're in the same community, we run in the same circles. Like, I can't, you know, not hang out with my best friend, but there's always a chance he might be there. And like, I get that, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I will say, I find it surprising for myself that I'm so defensive of their relationship because I think Brandon kind of sucks. But I just find it difficult to make like sweeping generalizations about you can or can't do this type of thing. And like, I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't have a relationship with anyone. I mean, I don't have a relationship with anyone who I ever hooked up with. And I would think it was a bit weird if my partner did, but I think there's a huge difference between like, we happen to have hooked up and then we also built a different relationship separately from that versus like our only contact was that we hooked up. And so I do feel like it makes a difference that they have like years of deep friendship behind them that were not sexual in nature. And I think it's silly to treat that the exact same way as if it was just like a random one night stand, you know?
It's literally the situation versus Catie and Josh with Ryan. Perfectly said. Also, can I just say, this is such a tiny town. There's a really good chance that they like grew up together. Like they went to school together or like they knew each other. They were friends or at least acquaintances, whatever. There's a really good chance that this is not even how they got to know each other or whatever. So we don't know that for sure, but just, I don't know, there's a really good chance of it at least.
Yeah, I agree. And Raşit says if she loves him, she will listen to him. And this is again the shit where I'm like, no, sorry. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the implications. Sounds manipulative as hell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But specifically, it's like, this is the boundary versus control. Raşit isn't saying, if you continue a relationship with Brandon, it'll really hurt my feelings, or even I will have to leave this relationship. For me, that would be like crazy if my partner, I already wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
However, that is arguably a boundary. What he is saying, which makes it not a boundary, is he's like, you can't blink. Those are so different, you know? And so that's what changes his approach to this from being just simply communicating a boundary and saying this is something I'm not comfortable with anyone except, versus controlling her behavior and everything like that. And I think that is what's wrong with it.
Also, I mean, certainly one element of this is the fact that they do not have the language skills to have deep, nuanced conversations. But I feel like they could come to a place of understanding of him saying, I want you to understand, like, for my cultural context, this is really uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
And she could come from a place of, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. It's not my cultural context. And on top of that, I have a uniquely deep relationship with this man, which is not sexual in nature. And in fact, the fact that we ever were sexual is the outlier of our relationship. And I feel like they could work through it and come to an agreement that way. But the fact that Raşit has such black and white beliefs, and then it's compounded by the inability to negotiate that through language, I just feel like, where do we go from here? Like, literally, their conversations devolve to essentially yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah.
And I really don't know where that leads. And then Mallorie does say something in an interview very interesting. She says, honestly, if he has such a problem with my American culture, maybe he should have been with a Turkish woman. And you know what? I tend to agree.
Yeah, maybe.
I do always find that weird. Like, okay, at least with Maxwell, the like culture that was being imposed, it was his family imposing that. He himself wasn't really, I mean, we don't know him in that way yet, but he didn't seem to be really like reinforcing those rules. But with Raşit, I'm like, you chose to leave your country and move to a different country and live with a woman from a different country. The rigidity of like, well, these are my rules is very odd to me.
Very odd.
And again, I think it would be different if she had moved to Turkey, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think it would be nice to just sort of be open to your partner's culture in general. But I don't know. I just feel like you opted to leave your country and move to a different country. I really don't understand this thing of like, well, it's my culture, therefore you have to do it. Like, why does one culture supersede the other? And when is that the case? And this is a bigger theme on the show, but this idea of, well, it's my culture. Well, if the other person's culture is the opposite, then what?
Yup.
This is just one where I'm like, I don't really see where we go from here. And I don't think they're the worst couple on the show by any means, but I'm not seeing a pathway towards like real deepening of the bond or like real working through things, in part due to the language barrier and in part due to just what seem to be very firmly held core beliefs which are not aligned.
Yes. I think it's fundamentally weird that Mallorie is so rigid in what she expects. And I think it's weird that Raşit is so rigid in what he expects culturally. And, I might change my mind on that later. Maybe this is just Raşit's fault in this. Maybe Mallorie is and we haven't seen it yet, whatever. But based off of what we've seen, I guess I don't get the point of dating someone from a different culture if you just want it to be your way and your cultural way. I don't get the point of dating someone from somewhere else.
I agree. Have you ever had something like this in your relationship where you felt like you had to put your foot down and be like, well, this is my culture? The only thing that comes to mind is preparing someone for, like, in my case, like an extended Persian family gathering and being like, just so you know, like, I'm walking you through the set of norms, like you kiss people on both cheeks when you meet them, like those type of things. I can't think of a time where I've ever been like, well, this is my culture, therefore that's what we're gonna do.
The only time it's come up, actually, it's more like led by my husband. He had this situation where he was worried he made someone feel uncomfortable in a social situation. We were hanging out with another couple, a straight couple, and he said to the woman, like, oh, by the way, you just look so pretty today. And then afterwards, he was really kind of wigging out, and he was like, oh, God, like, I don't know, did I make her or like her boyfriend feel uncomfortable? I just felt like that didn't land how I expected it to. And I explained to him, like, well, I do think in Korea, you guys like just remark on people's physical state and like the prettiness level a lot more than like an American would. And I said, if you feel uncomfortable, maybe just don't do that next time, and you can apologize if you felt like you made anyone uncomfortable. But I feel like it's so important that he led that conversation.
And it was brought up in more of a reflective way. It's not like he's like, well, I'm going to tell all your friends they're hot because that's my culture. I don't care if it makes them uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So that's the difference. And that's why I find I can't relate to this. I can't relate to this like, well, this is my culture, therefore that's what we're going to do. Like, I don't think I've ever said those words.
Never.
And I feel like we're qualified to speak on it.
Yeah. For the record, for anyone who maybe doesn't know, me and Sophie, either in the past or currently, live abroad. Our spouses are not American. And we've been through this shit. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to me. I don't know. I really can't relate to this type of conflict or language.
Hey, everyone break up. Everyone break up. Seems like your relationship isn't that good.
That's our advice for everyone. In case you're on the fence, just go ahead and do it. Even if you're not on the fence, just go ahead and do it too.
Everyone break up except for us with our partners.
So true. We'll contact you if you shouldn't break up. Otherwise, assume that you should.
New service we're offering. Send us pictures of you and your partner and tell us like your worst fight, and we'll tell you if you should break up or not.
We're like a magic 8-ball.
We're reverse matchmakers. We're like breakup makers. We determine if you should break up or stay together.
Love that. Trademark that. Thank you all for tuning in, as always.
Please make sure you're following us wherever you're listening to us right now, whether that be on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, something else. Let us know. Please also make sure you go check us out on social media. Everywhere that we have a presence, we are at My Best View Pod. And we would really love for you to engage with us, especially on Instagram or TikTok.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.